Okay. Alright, hi, I'm with James Huntley, a sports scout for the NFL. He's with Football First, and your business partner is?
Wendy Milson. He's stationed out of Fort Lauderdale.
Wendy? Okay.
Innocent.
Okay, Innocent. And how did you get into being a sports scout?
Well, it's a funny story because I've always been interested in football. I had nephews who played like Pop Warner and went on to high school and on to college, and I just fell in love with the sport. You know, given that I'm 6'7", I'm a basketball player by nature, but dealing with my family and my nephews, as I said, I just fell in love with the sport. And I was on a business trip with a friend of mine, Leslie Flourmont, and he asked me, like, what do you really want to do? What do you have a passion for? And I was like, you know what, I really love working with kids and the whole football scene. You know, I just love it. He said, you know what, I have a cousin that's in the business that is an NFL sports agent. And, you know, I was kind of hesitant at first. You know, I thought he was playing. And I said, okay, once we get back to LA, we were in Seattle at the time, and I said, once we get back to LA, you call him then. He's like, no, I'm gonna call him right now. I was like, no, let's wait till we get back home. He picked up the phone and calls the guy and hands the phone to me. And 6 months later, I'm actually in the process of signing one of the best defensive ends in college football.
Who is that?
His name is Wayne Dorsey.
Dorsey.
Out of Ole Miss.
A lot of good players came out of Ole Miss.
Yes, this guy unfortunately had broke his arm in the 5th game of the season, and a lot of scouts fell back off of him at that time. So we got lucky to get him to the point to we're in the process of signing him as an agency. This guy is 6'7", 270, and speed is off the charts. So this is almost like the steal of the draft. So I'm like excited to be in this position, and I have a couple other guys that are signing with us. Another guy by the name of Mike Evans,
okay,
out of the University of Louisville.
Okay.
He's a defensive back, and we're talking about a guy that's.
What year was this?
This is 2011 when it's all transpired.
Okay.
So I'm new to the business, but have grown light years, like quickly, as far as the knowledge of the game on the business side, because it's a major difference. Because from an agent's point of view, you are a commodity, you know. And
you are an agent,
right?
You're a sports agent, okay. And so, what do you like? All right, you got into this. You have an eye for what you get paid on is picking out the right players.
The right players, talented, good character. We look for guys that's not only talented, but you want a guy that's good character, because, you know, in a lot of cases you'll have guys out there who are kind of wilder than normal. And you'll get that call at 3 in the morning, you're like, what's up with your guy? He just tore the club up. Or what's up with your guy? He shot a couple of people last night. So you really have to have a guy with some integrity, you know, with some class, and a hard worker, and a lot of talent helps too.
So it's talent, hard work, and character.
Exactly. Very important, because you're responsible for this guy, so to speak. You know, it's almost like bringing in a kid into your family, into your home. You know, on the outside, you might, oh, he's cool outside, but once you bring him into your home, you're like, man, this guy's tearing up my whole house. So you really want to choose carefully and make sure you're dealing with the guy that has integrity, character, a good heart, and really wants to be successful.
But what if you meet a football player that he's a monster out there and he's tearing up the field, you know you're going to see him in the Super Bowl, but he has a drug problem, or he's a known gang member, or he has known for domestic violence? Are you really going to like say no? I'm just not going to sign you.
I mean, a lot of times, you know, you'll have guys who might fall back on individuals like that, or agents who might be hesitant in dealing with athletes like that. But if you know that person, or get to know that person a little more, and if they're willing to open up to you, and let you help them and they want to attack that problem, then I would take that chance.
Has there been anybody that you signed that you've regretted?
No.
And then has there been anybody that you signed that you're just like, yes, and nobody else wanted, but you're just like, yeah, that's my boy. That's going to be the guy who...
Yes.
Would you like to drop some names?
Wayne Dorsey.
Wayne Dorsey is
Wayne
the
Dorsey,
boy.
Right.
Okay.
And I've had players that I've courted through the year and lost at the last minute by other agents. You know, it's a ruthless game when it comes to agents.
So it's so it is like Jerry Maguire then.
Right. It's almost like you're a beautiful woman, as I can see.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you.
Now, if we're going out, we're dating, this gentleman right here might be interested in you too. Of course he is. You're gorgeous, right?
So I can scream, "Show me the money."
Or a couple of dates with this guy, a couple of dates with me, and at the last minute you choose this guy over me. So I done spent a lot of money, right? We done dine at some of the 5-star restaurants, right?
Okay.
I bought you some nice jewelry from Tiffany, right? You got a nice Louis Vuitton handbag, right? But at the end of that deal, you're with that guy. So all the money I've spent is to waste, so to speak, because agent, his responsibility is to pay for training, right? You get a weekly stipend between $500 and $1,000. He's paying for housing, and if you're a first, second, or third round draft pick, you can actually get a lump sum of cash up front between $50,000 and $300,000.
And how do you become a first or second draft pick?
Well, it's on a scale of what you've done throughout your college career. You know, yardage. If you're a receiver, of course, receiving yardage. If you're a lineman, O lineman, or D lineman, sacks, your pass coverage. So it's assortment of things that come into play given the position that you play. And NFL GMs will rate you. And you'll have an NFL draft chart too. So at your senior year or your junior year, once you declare yourself as an NFL prospect, then you'll get a grade, just like in high school. An A grade, a B grade, a C grade.
Got it.
And once you achieve those grades, then that will actually set the bar whether you're a first, second, third, or fourth round draft pick.
Wow, okay. And then, all right, next question I have is also, what are the top 3 colleges that you always look at, that you know you're going to find winners at?
USC, definitely at the top of my list since I'm on the West Coast. Arizona State is a good one. UCLA always has talent. Oregon, of course. They're upcoming as far as getting players into the NFL. They were at the bottom for a while, but their tide is changing. And Stanford is always good. And the University of Washington is good too. I mean, you can find prospects at any school, but your nest of eggs is definitely USC. They have a melting pot of athletes. I mean, if I was a gold miner, I would set my tent up at USC. Okay,
and then also, what about community colleges? What about the kids that are talented but just didn't have the money to go into any of these colleges?
Well, that's a whole nother lane. But you have some of the Pro Bowl NFL players who've come from junior college. So what it is if you don't go to a major university or university out of high school, you'll go to JUCO.
Yeah.
And then from there, you do your 2 years there, and then you're transferred to a 4-year institution from there.
Correct.
And then continue out your career. You have 2 years to play, and as a senior, then you go into the NFL, given that you're good enough. So It's just another lane that you take to the path.
So basically, you guys aren't really going to scout at community colleges. It's usually a major college. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, and then
Mike Evans, he went to a junior college too.
Mike Evans went to a junior college as well.
Transferred to.
Which junior college did he go to?
He went to. That's a good question. I want to say El Camino Junior College.
El Camino. Okay, and then what do you look for? What's going to get your attention? What's going to make you want, like, the top? Besides character, like, what can these players do? Because we have a lot of college kids that read our magazine.
What I really look at, like, with perfect example with Mike Evans, I've known him since he was in high school, and I seen him work out. It was his work ethic, and I seen a lot of kids, do the 7-on-7s in the summertime and the off season, And this guy's work ethic was so relentless because as a defensive back, he would always challenge the best receiver on the field. If you showed up at a 7-on-7 and you already had a name, you know, you a little swagger about you, you was a quote-unquote superstar, he's going to jump in front of you every time. So I noticed that about him. Like, you know what? This dude has some real character behind it. He's not scared of competition. You have some kids out there that are good players, but they kind of shun away from the extreme competition. Like, say for instance, if I'm on the field and I'm a defensive back and this gentleman's a receiver and I know he's really, really good, I want to work out with this guy every time because I know even if he's better than me, I'm going to get better because I got the competition right here in front of me.
Instead of killing somebody who's weaker.
So if he's way better than me at this particular time, I can't do anything but get better and hone my skills. And that's what I saw in Mike Evans. His skill set was high, his IQ was very high. I said, this kid's going to make it. So after his high school, he went to...
So you guys do look at grades?
Right.
Okay.
You know, when I say IQ, your football IQ.
Yeah.
You know, how do you see the game? How smart you are on the field? Do you know how to read what the receiver's doing or guess what he's doing before you even do it to gain an advantage? This is at the position of cornerback, which Mike Evans played. So once I saw his tenacity, I knew then. This was like about 6, 7 years ago.
Oh wow! So
right.
you followed these people for a long time.
It's almost like I mean, the game has changed so much to where you'll have college coaches, high school coaches. They watch these kids all the way from Pop Warner. You know, and people talk, coaches talk, people talk. You know, and with YouTube, I mean, it's just wide open. You'll see Pop Warner kids treated as if they're celebrities, you know, and they're just really good standout Pop Warner football players, which is good, which is okay. But these kids, as they grow up and come up through the ranks, you've already know about them. You already know that, you know, this kid has the opportunity to be really successful, and you watch them. Then once they get to high school, you know, all the college coaches are you know, knocking at their door, you know, want these kids to sign to their schools. So you know who's who, and you just keep your eye on them. It's like following a stock market chart. You follow the kid all the way up. And once he gets to that point to where he's ready to get into the NFL, hopefully from an agent's point of view, you already have a relationship with the kid.
Exactly.
And that's what you want. You want a relationship with the athlete. Because I've lost several athletes by having relationships with their parents, but not with the athlete. And once you're at your senior or junior year in college, you're pretty much an adult. You're ready to make that decision for yourself. And your dad or your mom or your mentor is plan B. If your decision doesn't work out, then they say, okay, what should I do? And then they bring in plan B. But a lot of times these guys, they already know who they're going to sign with.
And also another thing too, any advice for parents? Like parents that want their kids to be athletes, should they have them in little league, make sure that they do all the junior high sports, or...
Yeah,
I mean, the parents are heavily involved in this game as well.
For sure. Like, you know, the parent is almost the agent coming up.
Gotcha.
Because they're paying for everything. They're taking the kids to all the training camps. They're taking the kids trying to find the right school, the right program. You know, they're paying for tutors. So the parent is primary the person, you know, all the way up to the last drop of that NFL contract signing day. But what I suggest for the parents is just make sure that the family enjoys the situation, because we have to understand that it's a game of love. But since money has arrived in this picture, it's turned into a big business.
Yeah.
So you don't want to lose that, you know what I mean, when your kid is young, you know? And I think a lot of times parents, they push these kids to the brink to where the kid might lose that love for the game early, and then once they get to the point of being an adult, they're kind of burnt out. I've seen that before.
My dad was a professional kickboxer, and he put me into training, and by the time I hit junior high, I can't stomach it, and I can still do a roundhouse that can knock out a guy who's 6'3".
Yeah, me.
You know, it's just, it's one of those things where if the parents push you too hard and you put them in training for 12 hours, 10 hours a day, You're like, oh, my dad's going to hear this recording.
You're burned out because it becomes, you know, it's not like there's no such thing as an off season anymore. You know, it's a lifestyle. So what I tell kids and I look for, you know, it may sound crazy, but if you're not in love, you might want to try something else because it's that demanding and the competition level is so high to where if you're not on your game 6-7 days a week, you know, there's no way you can keep up because the competition level is tremendous these days. These guys are like machines, you know, and with the whole sports science aspect of it, these guys are amazing athletes.
And you know that movie Invincible, where there was that one time where the guy got drafted and he was even in sports? Do you have any miracle cases where, let's just say, this guy's way too old, but he does got the talent and he just one day want to really try football? I mean, are there any chances of people actually getting those miracle cases with an agent? Realistically speaking,
it is.
Besides Mark Wahlberg?
Mark Wahlberg, yeah, it is. Because the bottom line is this: there's 32 teams. It only takes one team to like you, just one. And if you know the right person, you really work hard, and you get that opportunity. You know, sometimes everything is lined up right, and if you do your part and you show the scouts or the general managers that you can play at this level, you can get opportunity. It can happen, and that's what makes this sport so beautiful. You know, these young guys are put in situations where they can actually fulfill their dreams. And that's the part I like about it, just to play a role in helping someone fulfill their dream. And that's what really does it for me. Yeah, the money's good, but to actually make a difference in someone's life as a childhood dream and you become an intricate part of that really gets me going right there. That's the foundation of why I love to be in this business for the most part.
That's awesome. Okay, Super Bowl prediction. Wait, do you have any guess?
I want the Giants, but I'm thinking the Patriots might do it.
They're a good team. I know New England. They just
I know that's your team. I know 49ers is your team, but
I know they got killed.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they did good though. You know, that turnaround year for them.
Yes.
So now they got something to build on.
So any predictions for next year? What are the top 3 teams would you say watch out for next year?
Well, I definitely have to throw your 49ers in there. They're going to come back even strong. I want to stick with the Baltimore Ravens because I like Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. I want those guys to get a ring together. And the third team, I'm going to leave that open.
Okay.
For the guys that I'm signing this year, whatever team they go to, that'll be my third team.
Gotcha. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Huntley. I'm going to go ahead and upload this, and you guys can be able to find it on startoverqueen.com. Thank you.
Much